So today's adventure, we're in Mykonos, another island in Greece. So when you get off the boat, you can take a water taxi. It's $2.50 euro, but you are gonna wait in a huge line to get on the tender that takes you, the water taxi that takes you, I should say. Let me show you the line. So that's everybody trying to crowd on, and then the line goes all the way back there.
That's not a good plan.
We don't have an excursion plan for Mykonos, so what we're gonna do is we're trying to find a taxi to take us to a little town. Of course, I forget the name of the town, my wife knows, but it's a little town in the center of Mykonos, because this is the only port on this trip where you're not in the city town center. So when you get off the boat where the dock is, you're pretty far away from the center of town. That's why everyone's taking a water taxi over to town. You could take a taxi, but we got off the ship, lots of people, not many taxis. And they don't do credit cards, so you have to have euro.
That accent is terrible.
So make sure you have plenty of euro when you get off in Mykonos. Of course, if you're spending $2.50, you don't need that much, but we were told a 12-minute taxi ride to this small town was 45 euro, which is kind of crazy. It's only 12 minutes away, but they kind of got you. You know what I mean? Let me show you where we are and where the city town center is. So just to get you oriented, here's the ship, water taxi. Then if you spin around, the town center is way over there. On the back side of the port is an area where there's a bathroom, and we're trying to find an ATM. So for 35 cash euro for a car, I paid, you need to ask if they take the credit card. So our taxi driver took it. It was 40 from the port to our town that we're going to visit. And it's not as popular. There are some tour groups here, but we came to the town of Ano Mera, and right when you get off by the monastery, which is behind me, you can see the red dome. There's a little town map that shows around, but there's nice little quaint shops and places to eat, and definitely plenty to see if you want to do your own excursion in Mykonos. So let's see what kind of fun we can find here. Lori's sporting the hats. See, they got little shops. So this is pretty neat. A lot of the buildings, they don't cut the trees. They just let the trees grow right through the roof, and they just work around it. Because there's so few trees here and foliage, it's, almost like desert. So where a tree's gonna flourish, a tree's gonna flourish.
Think so white. I know it.
That's how they keep it nice and white.
What did he say?
And that sounded really racist. That's how they paint the buildings white, not anything else. So we came in the monastery where you're gonna find great architecture. It does cost 2 euros per person, but you'll see some great architecture and some sleeping cats. These beautiful arches. Nice courtyards. But not only do you get all this culture, architecture, serenity, I guess you could say, but your $2 lets you use the bathroom, which is always nice.
You sure about that?
So slight correction, it does cost $1 or €1 to use the toilet. And they have a nifty little system they got going here. So You just walk right up. It stands for water closet, in case you didn't know. Put your coin in, and wait for your bathroom. If you come up the stairs, you get a nice view of the tower. Then there is a little museum at the top of the stairs. And then the exit. And just so you know, just walk up to the door and they open. And if you want, there's plenty of places in the courtyard to take a little break and enjoy this church. Very, very nice. Whew, nice little cafe right behind the church. You can see the ceiling. And then there's even, those are real bird sounds from the birds, and there's some over there.
See that bird? That's
Now,
hilarious.
In Mykonos, if you collect the Starbucks mugs, you got a vending machine, which is right outside your cruise ship. We are back from the cruise after doing our own excursion in Mykonos. We had a great time in the little town. I would say that town's good for maybe half the day. So if you want to avoid all the crowds, it was about 40 bucks there on a taxi, and actually 40 bucks back, and we called for a taxi. So all you do is call for a taxi and they come get you right at the city center in there, or the town square. And now gonna enjoy the rest of the day on the boat, at the pool, and get a couple cappuccinos on board. Hope you enjoyed this little visit to Mykonos. Very beautiful place, very beautiful port, and really enjoyed it.